Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the next episode of Home in Motion. And today we're going to be talking about our spring break trip to Joshua Tree and Palm Springs. So to start off, this was probably our first trip that we took as a family since the pandemic, that other than going to North Carolina. I feel like this was our first long, not just a weekend getaway type trip in a long time.
Yeah. When was the last time we went to North Carolina? I honestly don't remember.
I feel like it's been a couple of years since we went all together.
A couple of years don't give me an exact date.
Well, because I don't even remember.
Well, you've clearly gone to North Carolina more than I have.
Yeah, but that's why I'm trying to remember the last time we went as a family. Oh, wait, no, it hasn't been that long, because when was it that you forgot your driver's license? That was the last time we all four went together.
Oh, I don't know. That was, it wasn't last year. It was last year.
Oh, yeah, maybe it hasn't been that long. But
was it 2022, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's typically when we go on a long trip, it's mostly been back to North Carolina. So this was our first trip, I feel like, since we did our road trip to Disneyland, that we've actually gone out on a full trip.
Well, okay, considering that you don't consider going to Tahoe a real trip, where else do you not consider going on a real trip?
I'm not saying that. It's that this, we went for a full week. Tahoe, we normally go for a weekend. This was our first more than just a weekend trip away.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we haven't done one of those in a long time. So I was really excited. And because we're not really from California, Palm Springs and Joshua Tree have been kind of on my bucket list. And our daughter's spring break was towards the end of March. So this was the perfect time to go down there because it was starting to get warm and we got to enjoy the sun, but it wasn't the super hot desert heat that we would get in the summertime. And it was before Coachella, so there weren't influencers and...
Wait, Coachella is where?
Coachella is maybe 30 minutes from Palm Springs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where at?
In Coachella Valley.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
We were in the same area, but it didn't happen till a month later, but
yeah,
we didn't have all the influencers and stuff there. So this has been on my bucket list for a couple of years that I've been thinking about making a trip and wanting us to go as a family.
Yeah.
And we did do it as a road trip with our Teslas. And I have to say, because the last time we did go down to Tesla.
Oh, okay. Tesla. Yeah. I mean, we have two now, but we didn't have two at that time.
Yeah. But we, I say that because doing a road trip, the last time we did that was when we went to Disneyland. And that was 3 or 4 years ago. And Noah was just born, probably not even 6 months old. And towards the end, he just cried the whole time. And I have to say this time was way better because when we have to stop to charge the cars, it's just the right amount of time to give them a break from driving in the car. So
it's funny because every time I talk to someone about us owning a Tesla, they're like, oh, well, how is it on trips? I'm like, you don't realize how much torture you put yourself through when you're driving a gasoline car.
Yeah, by trying to suck it up.
Yeah, you're sucking it up and you're not actually stopping when your body's telling you to stop. So you're always grumpy because you're sitting in the car for 2 or 3 hours at a time when you really need to be getting out at least once every hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yep, and that's exactly how long the car will make it most times. So.
Yeah, most of the time. I mean, it can make it further, but you probably won't make it to the next charging station.
Yeah, and I feel like this, for whatever reason, maybe just because he's older, then it worked out this time where Noah wasn't crazy fussy and we got to stop and eat and stuff and it worked out. It was if you said, if you just are a gasoline car and you drive it straight, it's an 8-hour drive, but because we have to stop and charge, it probably took us 10 hours.
Yeah.
But still not horrible.
You need the brakes. Even if you're in a combustion engine car, you still need brakes.
Yeah, especially with kids.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was actually pretty proud of myself for this trip because I feel like normally when we have big trips like this, it's like kind of last minute of everything coming together. Like I like planning, but like for it to all really come together and be solidified, a lot of times doesn't happen till the very end. But this trip, like we left when we said we were going to leave, like everything kind of followed the schedule of what I had laid out before. So I feel like that was kind of nice because I feel like normally you're like, you get irritated if I don't have everything like set.
Well, because you would say, "Oh, I don't like you planning things because you're not organized," or I remember you saying some stuff like that. So I'm holding your feet to the fire every time now. No, it needs to be organized and everything. Since you said that to me,
that's fine. But I felt organized, and I even worked the weekend before we left,
which was a mistake. I'm not even gonna curse, but that was a mistake.
Well, I was trying
because you left me doing everything on the weekend.
Well, sure, but I had 2 comp days.
So I wonder why it felt more organized.
You weren't even prepping for the trip,
Leon. I had to do a lot of stuff.
What?
For it to seem smooth, I still had to do things. I mean, that trip has been, what, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Several months ago?
2 months, not even 2 months ago. We're
so
still
what?
in April.
I don't even remember last weekend. Okay, whatever.
But it felt like, and we all got up. Everybody got up early. I'm probably one of the few in the family that's like a true morning person. And everybody got up and got in the car, and we left on time.
Yeah.
So we started off the trip really nicely. And then I guess the next thing we can talk about is lodging. So because we wanted to do both Joshua Tree and Palm Springs while we were down there, I was really trying to find a middle ground so we could explore both places and not have to drive like too far one way versus the other. So we ended up staying, and I'm probably butchering the way you say it, but I say Yucca Valley. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I'm going to say. And there aren't a lot of so if you stay on the Palm Springs side, you obviously get the Palm Spring hotels and the kind of upper scale, and they do have family friendly hotels there. And then Joshua Tree is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. The park obviously has camping, that if that's kind of what you enjoy as your family, that you can do that. But we chose to pick an Airbnb, and because we were in Yucca Valley, it was like right in between, and we had our own space, which I feel like you always really like, is somewhere where we're not like bothered by anybody else.
Yeah, I just like having my own space. And that's probably one of the best Airbnbs we've ever stayed in, period.
Yeah, I agree. And
yeah.
To kind of complicate traveling with the kids at this stage, Noah eats 2 things primarily right now. So I really wanted like a house where we could make his chicken nuggets, which is like one of the few things. So the Airbnb worked from that perspective, and we were able to like get all the like breakfast and lunch, like the essentials, and have them there. So and we cooked there at least one of the nights too. So we had that, and then because it was spring break, I really wanted a place with a pool and a hot tub. And surprisingly, I guess the one thing that I didn't anticipate, this whole like with the planning, I was looking at the weather in Palm Springs, but Yucca Valley is like further up, and Joshua Tree are higher up in elevation. So it was still warm, but it wasn't like pool warm, I would say. Like it was still a little bit chilly outside, and the pool hadn't quite warmed up to where it was bathing suit weather.
Plus it was an above ground pool too, so that I think an above ground pool probably stays colder longer versus an in ground pool, I would assume. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Well, maybe not, I don't know, but
we still got to use the hot tub, so it's fine. And then the one thing I have to say, so Greg and Emily are the hosts, the Airbnb hosts, and I had reached out knowing that we were going to bring Noah, and they they previously didn't have a pack and play at the house, and they purchased one. So that was like one thing that we didn't have to try and fit into the Tesla was a pack and play for somewhere. Because Noah's at that age, I feel like, where the pack and play he's definitely hitting his limits of it being a realistic like sleeping option.
Yeah.
But just a normal bed, I feel like we were worried he was going to like escape in the middle of the night.
Well, he escapes his crib now. His actual bed with, I guess, bars on it. He can climb over it with no help. So, but anyways, yeah. What was their names?
Greg and Emily.
Greg and Emily, you have a beautiful house. It's a very beautiful house. I like the theme. It's like what was it like?
Retro
70s.
Yeah, like it still had that Palm Springs vibe.
Yeah, but it clearly had a theme like an old 70s style house.
Yep.
Then the little guest house was really nice too. The little game room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah, and I feel like you really enjoyed that because like if we were hanging out and just like relaxing and like for us that was going in the hot tub, then you got to like relax and play video games.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't even think about getting videos of like the house and stuff, but I should have.
Well, I feel like was the hardest part about this trip. Like I feel like we focused so much on like the logistics with the kids that like it was kind of hard to enjoy it. Like we got pictures, but we didn't get a lot of videos.
No.
It was.
Yeah, I mean, it's a desert. So
yeah. Well,
you're going to see the same thing over and over. I mean, I wish I would have got picture, but I got a lot of video. I mean, I wish I would have got video, but got a lot of pictures.
Yeah. I think I feel differently.
Anyways, back to the house.
Yeah.
The backyard was massive.
Yeah, and I feel like we didn't even get to fully enjoy it. Like, well, I did want you to grill out, but that just, the grill wasn't perfect or whatever, but.
The grill was super dirty, and I'm not cleaning someone else's grill. I'm sorry. As much as I wanted to grill out, I'm just not going to clean somebody's dirty-ass grill. Yeah. Like, it was filthy.
Yeah, where people weren't courteous and cleaning up after themselves. But they had, like, a nice, like, outdoor dinner table. They had, like, multiple seating areas and the pool. And there's still, like, an area where the kids could run around, like, a little bit of grass. Or maybe not grass. It was probably dirt, but... where they could still run around and kind of play and everything. So I feel like that, especially like it was already warm enough for us when we were there, to really be outside and kind of just enjoy things. So I feel like,
yeah, beautiful home, beautiful backyard, front yard. You know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all that, but
I feel like that was harder because they do have neighbors. Like we were in a neighborhood, and they like I guess there's noise ordinances and things in that area.
Yes.
So we were not wanting to piss off the neighbors while we were there to like which is not like we were having parties. Or anything.
I think it's in a good location because Walmart was literally right across the road.
And it had several like chain restaurants.
Yeah.
So
if you go there's not a lot of chain restaurants. What is there? Panda Express.
We ate at Firehouse Subs.
Firehouse Subs. Taco Bell.
Yeah.
What else? I think there's one other place, right? Like chain wise that you would be used to going to.
Maybe it was. I think on the other side from Firehouse, right? But I don't remember now.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But. Definitely the location ended up being really nice. And
they have a nice Walmart.
Yeah, and that was one thing that I feel like I didn't realize before we went down there that we're so used to now. Like we shopped at Walmart all the time in North Carolina, and like I feel like back on the East Coast, like it's a good balance of Walmart and Target. And we're just like have shifted the other way because Target out here is like primarily what's available close by and
in our area.
Yeah, in our area.
Yeah. I mean, there might be parts of California where Walmart is dominant, but in our location, Target is dominant. Like it's the big store. Yeah. Walmart has little stores. So
yeah, so we're like kind of switched the other way, and this like, I mean, especially post pandemic, where like all the big stores still have the curbside pickup. Like, this was probably one of the nicest curbside pickups I've ever seen at Walmart. Like, they had, for the people that were bringing your groceries out, it was like a full sliding door, and the actual parking spots were covered, which, I mean, it wasn't raining when we were there, but I could imagine, like, you always feel so guilty doing the curbside pickup when it's like pouring down rain outside. And at least for this, like, it was completely covered, and the people that do the curbside wouldn't have to like get wet. So it was definitely one of the nicest Walmarts, and that made it nice to just have the essentials that we needed already and have what we needed at the house.
Yeah, because he only eats chicken nuggets or peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, and like when we were out in the park, because the park also doesn't really have many restaurants in Joshua Tree, then
Dang, there's no restaurants in that place.
no, it's all just in the town. It's not in the park.
And the town doesn't have many.
So we brought food and water and everything to the park. So like being able to have stuff where I packed our picnic lunches and stuff every day was nice.
You know, it's kind of weird to think about, like, living wherever that Airbnb was.
Yeah.
Because there's legitimately no restaurants except for the few that we saw. Like, what do you do for food? Is it just like, cook all the time? And then on occasion go to one of these 3 locations?
I mean, I guess. But all the small towns are kind of close together. So I feel like...
yeah. So you would have to travel 20, 30 minutes to get to a different fast food restaurant.
But it wasn't all just fast food.
Well,
they had
I know. I'm
takeout.
talking about, like...
the chains.
Just chain stuff. Now, obviously, they have other restaurants that aren't chain restaurants that we know about.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they have their hometown restaurants.
Yeah.
And we did try one. We tried the Mediterranean, which was fantastic.
Yeah, that place. And I liked that because I feel like, especially post-pandemic, we've still, like, especially because I feel like you don't like to always sit down in a restaurant. We've done a lot of takeout still.
Yeah.
And so we ate there. The place is called Yucca Kebob, and it's right there where our Airbnb was in Yucca Valley. And like, because we'd been traveling all day and we'd ate like fast food on the way down, like that was nice to be something light, and like we could get there, do the grocery shopping and eat dinner and like not really have to stress. And but that was some of the best Mediterranean food I feel like we've had, even up here.
Oh yeah, that was the best Mediterranean food I've ever had, period. And we've eaten Mediterranean in San Francisco. Hell, we've had it in North Carolina in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, we've.
Where else? We've had it in South San Francisco. We've had it in Redwood City.
Yeah, and we eat it up here too.
Yeah, and we eat it up here. Yeah, out of every place we've ever been, that's the best. Which is weird. A super small town has the best Mediterranean food I've ever had.
And let's see what else about that place. Oh, I did want to say I just happened to hear about that one because I was doing like trying to figure out what we were going to do, and I heard about that place from another podcast.
What place?
The Yucca Kebab.
Oh.
From Dirt in My Shoes, which she's like a former park ranger. So her and her husband do podcasts about always like traveling to national parks. And so like prepping, knowing we were going to Joshua Tree, like they had mentioned it. So it just kind of worked out that we ate there the day we were traveling. All right. Anything else about travel down and like getting settled in the Airbnb?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Next, we'll talk about Joshua Tree. And I feel like comparing the two, Joshua Tree ended up being my favorite compared to Palm Springs. I feel like I could have spent more time there, but I feel like you probably feel like differently.
I think you are the only one that would rather spend more time in Joshua Tree than Palm Springs.
And that's like, with our travel differences, like that first day, Ryan was like, don't get me up or out of this house before lunchtime. And that like is really hard for me when we're traveling, especially like a national park where like I want to get up and I want to go hike and like get in as many hikes and stuff as I can while we're there. When you were like, don't even think about leaving before lunchtime, I was like, okay, well, this is going to be.
Well, I think it was because while we came down, I couldn't help much with driving because I was so tired.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why did I don't understand why. I don't even remember why I was so tired. Obviously, I probably didn't sleep well that night.
Yeah,
And
maybe.
we got up super early.
Yeah. Maybe it was the early part. I don't know, because I feel like
No, well, I know what it is. I had 2 children by myself on the weekend when you were supposed to be home helping, because the weekends are my time to not be the 100% parent that's full responsibility the whole day.
Yeah. I don't think it was because of that, though. I don't remember. You, like, didn't sleep that night or something, but... Anyway.
I just couldn't sleep well. I don't know what it, I get in those phases where I can't sleep well. But anyways, yeah, I couldn't help you. That was the reason why I said do not talk to me.
But even the whole week you were that way. Even after you had recuperated and you had gotten a good night of sleep,
It took me a good 2 days, 2 to 3 days to feel like I was like back to my old self. For some odd reason, I don't even understand why. But
you're still like that on any vacation. You don't like to get out. The earliest I've ever been able to get you out somewhere is 10 a.m.
It's supposed to be a vacation. No, see, what you do is you plan all this stuff and we have no time to relax because I feel like I'm always under a time crunch to do something. So, like, I don't get to just relax and take a deep breath and enjoy where I am. I feel like I'm always, like, when you plan vacations, we're always on the go.
Well, I feel like that it depends on the vacation. Like this where it's outdoors and you're hiking and stuff. Yeah, like I want to be on the go, go, go. But like you take me to the beach, I'm just going to want to sit on the beach. So to me, it depends on like what we're doing. And this, like where you're trying to be outdoors and experience everything, then.
Yeah, I understand that. But I don't know. I just think it would be better if we planned it to where we had a couple of days to where we just didn't do anything.
That's really hard for me. A couple of days is hard because I did account for like we had at least one day, like an afternoon one day and the morning at least another day where I didn't have anything planned to be able to just like have downtime. And it would be hard for me to sacrifice 2 days.
Oh, I'm sorry, but that's what we need. Even Olivia was tired of going places at one point.
Oh,
yeah, she was. Especially when you was talking about going back to the national park. She didn't really care for it too much.
Well, I don't care. I enjoyed it. So I guess we can talk about Joshua Tree. It is pretty cost effective because I only had to pay $30 for their like 7-day pass. So I just started it when I knew we were going to be on vacation. And then that first day, since we didn't start till lunchtime, we started with a Keys Ranch guided tour. And this was another recommendation that I had gotten from the Dirt in My Shoes podcast. And they haven't done it themselves, but they've heard really great things. And it's about this guy, Bill Keys, and he was a rancher that lived there. He died in like the 1960s, but he had been living on that land since like the early 1900s. And to me, like the vibe I got reminded me a lot of your grandfather of like, I mean, he was living in Joshua Tree and like having to live off the land, and he was like mining, and he had to like, they didn't have running water. So he like built these wells. So
how did it remind you of my grandfather? Because my grandfather was a hoarder.
But this guy was a hoarder, but he hoarded stuff to be able to fix things. So it was like the ingenuity of like, he took like an old car or truck motor and like used that to make like a saw. Like, so it was like the way he like hacked stuff together.
Yeah.
That reminds me of your grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
He would do something like that.
He will hack some stuff together.
So that's what it reminded me, because he had so many like old car parts, old mining parts.
Yeah.
Like it was just stuff everywhere. But it was really cool because like you just like put yourself in their shoes of like trying to live in the desert, like and make a living. Like they were actually pretty creative, and his wife was a teacher and like taught all their kids, and I think eventually taught other people like that.
Yeah, they had a little schoolhouse, I think, for the people that were living on the property with them.
Yep. And all that stuff I just can't imagine living that way. And then the park ranger that was doing the tour was kind of interesting because he told us that story at the end where, like towards the end as he got older, there was like another guy, Worth Bagsley, that had bought land, but then like his Bill Key's land, like he had to go through that guy's land to get to his other part of his land. Yeah. And they had like a shootout, and he said it was self-defense, but then like he ended up having to go to San Quentin and he got like tried for murder. So it's kind of crazy like to think about like the wild, wild west, but in the desert. Joshua Tree.
Where do you think they shot the wild, wild west? In the desert. And I think some of those movies were shot there, like in that area.
They were, because there's Pioneer Town is where they've shot a lot of westerns. So that part was really cool to me to learn about the history part.
I enjoy listening to stuff like that and actually physically being there. That was a really cool part. I would say out of everything when it comes to Joshua Tree alone, having a guided tour like that was really nice because you really get to learn some very interesting things and the history.
Yeah, and that's like a unique part to the park. Like it's not just like about the desert in general. Like it was that kind of unique thing. Yeah. And that too, it wasn't expensive. It was like $26 for all four of us. So it's not like it was pricey for the guided tour. And it was kind of crazy too, because like where we had to drive, it was like we had to get to the gate and then the park ranger had to let us in, and like we all drove behind the gate and then we like walked back for the tour. So it was like back past where all the people typically go.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an isolated area. Our car barely made it through there. I mean, it made it, but it's got a few little ruts that are pretty deep. Like going through.
Yeah, because they don't have the gravel like evened out or whatever.
Yeah. So if you're renting something, get like a little small SUV or something. If you have a Tesla like us, you just have to suck it up and hope you don't damage something.
But that took like maybe an hour and a half, and then we ended up eating lunch in the car, and then I feel like Noah like passed out. So after that, another kind of bucket list spot that I had on my list was Skull Rock. So it was a little bit of a drive from where we were for the tour to get there, and then Noah by that point was asleep. So Ryan and Noah just kind of hung in the car, and Olivia and I went rock climbing around Skull Rock and did that for a little bit, but
it was lucky for me because typically when I eat, especially like lunch, I have to sit down because eating for some reason increases my heart rate.
Yeah.
And I can't be running around. So it kind of worked out in a sense.
Yeah, you could just relax.
I could just relax and let my body do its stupid, weird thing.
And Olivia, she was pretty happy with the rock climbing. She always cracks me up though, because she like is all bold like before we get to do something, and then she gets out there and she's like so scared to like even walk or do anything. And so I was like, that was part of the rock. Like I expected her to want to do more rock climbing, but we didn't even really go that far because she gets scared and thinks something's gonna happen.
Yeah, I was surprised. It didn't take y'all long to come back to the car.
No, and it was because she really like. Plus, I didn't want to like be out there too long by ourselves, and but anyways, and then the last bucket list item that we hit for the day, it wasn't quite sunset. I was trying to time it where it was sunset, and we just weren't quite as late. But it was Keys View, which is from the kind of lookout area. You can see the San Bernardino Mountains, Coachella Valley, the San Andreas Fault, and supposedly if it's like a super, super, super clear day, you can see down to Mexico.
So, really?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously you didn't say none of that. We just went there.
Well, because, I don't know.
I would have actually looked for those things if you said that.
Well, I feel like everybody was tired by that point, and everybody was kind of grumbling that I was asking to go to another place. So
Yeah, because you had us out all day. We was in the scorching sun. It was actually hot. Like the sun was just beaming down on us the whole time. So you're forgetting, like, she's like a city girl, kind of.
She is.
So she don't want to be out in the sun too much. And all my southernness is pretty much gone. I've been in California too long.
Yeah.
I don't like the heat, no.
But it was not that hot, but it was dry heat. It was not humid heat like we're used to. But
I'm just, we're used to being outside a lot when we were younger, but I'm older now and I spend most of my time indoors.
Yeah.
So I enjoy air conditioning.
Well, that's why I did not preface people with like what you were actually seeing, because I feel like you're like, okay, you got like 2 minutes to walk up there and come back.
We stayed up there for a good while.
Because once you got up there and saw how beautiful it was, then you were okay staying. But before we got there...
Yeah, because everybody was tired in the end.
Yeah. Well,
and I think Olivia was getting a little hungry.
That was my 3 things that I had gotten in for the day. And then because I didn't get to see everything I wanted to see that day, we went back that next morning to Joshua Tree. And the one thing that I like didn't give anybody a choice to get up early to do was to go to the Cholla Cactus Garden for sunrise. So this was like the one early activity that I was like, this is not up for negotiation. And so these little so the Cholla cactus, they're supposed to be like, they're obviously not soft and furry, but they're little teddy bear cactus is like, I think what Cholla means. And with the little spindles, when the sun's coming up and the sun hits, they like are basically translucent with the sun. So it was beautiful. That was like one of my favorite things. And again, I mean, the drive was like, we got up at left at like 5:30 so that we could be there for like a 6:30, almost 7 o'clock sunrise. And I feel like it was like so pretty, like driving down there, like starting to see the sun come up. And then we got there and it was cold because it was like early morning, and y'all let me have like 5 minutes. And it was like the one thing that I really wanted to do.
Because it was cold as crap in the morning, okay? And nobody was really prepared for it to be that cold. And sure, it was pretty, but nobody really cared. I was like, nobody really cared. Olivia was like, why are we here? Can we go now?
Well,
Noah just doesn't care about any of this.
Yeah, well, but Olivia was ready to go because we went to the Hello Kitty Cafe after, so her mind was on other things. But
she was ready to. Oh yeah.
But it was beautiful, and I didn't even get to soak it up the whole way. But that was by far one of my favorite things. And then we did. I know this is not Joshua Tree or Palm Springs, but Olivia is obsessed with Sanrio. And because we were down, we hardly ever go to SoCal. So I was like, okay, if we're going to drive down there, we should make a trip over to Irvine and go to the Hello Kitty Cafe. And this was probably like the biggest fail of the entire trip. And I shouldn't have listened to an 8-year-old, but I looked at the menu. I wasn't sure. I'd been stalking to get the notifications to make a reservation. So I wasn't even sure if we would be able to do it. And when I did, and I looked at the menu, it was like the afternoon tea was like real tea party food, like quiches and egg salad. And she likes like cucumbers and stuff, but it was like grown up tea food. It was not kid tea food. And so I was like, you are going to eat this food if we're going to because it was like $60 a person. It wasn't. This was like probably the most expensive thing we did the entire trip. And so I was like, you were going to eat this food if we go and do this afternoon tea thing. And of course we get there and she only wants the sweets, barely ate any of the cucumber sandwich. And I mean, the food was okay. It's like any of the
food was not okay. That food was trash.
It was not trash.
That food was absolutely trash. But it's like anything
Sanrio.
I would have rather had a Snickers bar than eat them sweets. I'm sorry.
But it's like anything Sanrio. just having the Sanrio Hello Kitty part on it then is like what you're going for the experience, and like the quality is not going to be that great.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Ugh.
So like that was one part. And
That
then,
was rough. No, I'm sorry. That was a huge fail. Food was not good, and Noah was acting a hot mess.
well, that's what I was going to say next. Like, because it said on their website that kids under 4 didn't have to participate in the tea party. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's fine. Like, that means it's kind of kid friendly because they're acknowledging that kids under 4 come to this place.
Yeah.
And we get there and they have literally no booster seats and no high chairs. And we didn't bring the stroller in. So, like, between the two of us, we were like wrangling him and he was like not having it. He didn't want to sit down. We were worried about him like disturbing because it was like quiet in there. Like it was actual tea party.
Yeah.
And I like he was being a normal 2.5-year-old.
Yeah.
And we could not contain him.
I had to take him out of the out of there and just go outside and let him do his thing.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, I would say that's like a 10 and up thing. And maybe a mature 8 or 9-year-old would like it, but it's not for children.
well, that's what like I was so disappointed because there was like another like she looked younger than Olivia over there sitting with her mom, all cute, like eating the food.
Yeah.
And
Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I just know it wasn't for Olivia. Maybe it is for certain children that's just like in awe of Hello Kitty, which she's in awe of Hello Kitty.
but not enough to eat the food.
And not enough to eat that. It was strange food to her. Obviously, it was things that we've seen before.
Yeah.
And I actually liked some of it.
Yeah.
Some of the little, was it quiches or whatever?
Yeah.
Those were halfway bad. They were okay. But the food, it was okay though. It wasn't worth the price.
Yeah.
You spent more how much was it totally?
It was like probably $200.
Yeah, it was not worth $200.
By the time you put tip and everything in
Yeah,
there.
it was not worth $200.
Yeah.
It's probably worth it for someone that loves Hello Kitty.
And most of the other kids that were in there were like tween or early teenagers. Like they were like 12 or 13 maybe.
Yeah, they need better food. I'm sorry. If it's going to be a tea party, have better food.
Yeah, so that was like by far the biggest fail of the trip. I wish, because we went to the tea party part, but they have the cafe where you can just get like sweets and stuff outside. I wish we would have just done that and then gone and sat outside versus doing the whole tea party thing. But lesson learned. And then that day after that, we did attempt to get in the pool at the Airbnb, but it was so cold, like colder than a plunge bath, like where you're trying to do an ice bath. So and no fault to them. Like you said, it's not going to get super warm there quite yet, but we just kind of relaxed around. And then our third day of the trip, we still did a little bit more in Joshua Tree. that was the day that we did the actual Beaver Dam hike, where we took pictures with Joshua trees, and we where we actually like went hiking. A decent hike. That was the Beaver Dam loop, and it was like maybe a little more than a mile. So it was like, even for Noah, because it was all flat, it was still.
It wasn't all flat. I mean, it had a good amount of flat sections.
Yeah.
But then they had the little rocky area.
Yeah, but
that you had to climb up a little bit. But
yeah,
for the most part, it was flat. Yeah.
And I feel like on those hard parts, we just carried him and it was fine. Like if we were worried, but I don't know, some toddlers might be able to handle it. But the other thing that we really liked about Joshua Tree, the town that we did that morning, was the Joshua Tree coffee store, I guess. And I feel like as we've gotten older, we have a better appreciation for just like a simple coffee. And their coffee, just like as it is, was really good. Like we both just got lattes, and that was probably.
Hey, listen, I don't understand what it is about these small towns, but that was the best latte I ever had in my life.
Yep.
I spilled my first one, right?
Yeah,
What happened?
Noah spilt your first
yeah,
one.
Noah spilled the first one. He knocked it off the table. Yeah. But man, it was really good. Normally I would just like forget it, but it was really so good. I was like, no, I need another one. And I'm not a caffeine freak because I drink decaf, so the flavor was just so good and rich.
Yeah. So I feel like that was one of the highlights of the town.
For sure.
And then on top of the Beaver Dam hike, then the last thing we did, Olivia, she has some friends that have started to get into crocheting. So we went and checked out the world famous crochet museum. And it's like in the back of a parking lot where this like artist has space. And it has a little like, I don't know, it was like literally the size of like a small bathroom. Where he had all these like crochet things, like literally top to bottom filled, and you can just like walk in and observe it. And I know you guys kind of stayed in the car for that part, but it was still fun to like get out and see. And I'm trying, other than like video games, I'm trying to get her to explore other things. So that was my attempt.
Well, we need to get her into sports, not just gym. I know gymnastics is fine, but like another sport, soccer, basketball, something.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
But this was because her friends are getting into crocheting. So I was like trying to get her excited about something because her friends are into it.
I don't think she's even talked about crocheting since we've been back.
Well, we've attempted. Her patience, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Then that was the last of Joshua Tree, and then now we moved on to Palm Springs, and a couple of the things that I wanted to do there, we did. It's actually in Cabazon, which it's not quite in the Palm Springs. They have this place called Hadley's, and they have date shakes. So if you go down to Palm Springs, you have to try the date shakes, and it literally is a milkshake made out of dates.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I was like surprised. I had heard, so we tried the original, which it did taste like a caramel milkshake. And then we also tried the banana chocolate. And this one, like even Noah, like he surprised us both.
Man, Noah was chugging that the banana chocolate date shake. He was chugging that thing.
And like we barely at that point had gotten him to try anything. So he surprised us both. But
yeah, for some reason, he just stuck the straw in his mouth and started going to work on that drink.
I feel like he drank most of that one on his own. But it was actually really good. And then the other place that like a lot of people have probably seen on Instagram is the Cabazon dinosaurs. And this was another activity that I feel like I was really excited about, and then nobody else in the family was excited about because they had the two big dinosaurs out front, a T-Rex and a Bronchosaurus. And I wanted to go take pictures because that's like what everybody does there. And nobody wanted to take freaking pictures in front of the big dinosaurs.
What did she say? She was like, no, Mom. No.
And I was like, it's pink. It's a giant pink dinosaur. And you don't want to take a picture in front of the dinosaur. So that was a fail. I didn't get my Instagram picture of the dinosaurs.
She's a tween. What do you call it?
Yeah, tween.
She's a real deal.
And then we did go inside. I feel like that was actually pretty fun because they have like 100 dinosaurs, and some of them are just like actual like models, and then some of the other ones were like the light up versions where you can go and see them at night. And we kind of like wandered around. They do have where like you can go up inside the T-Rex, and they liked that because it was like super windy when we went there. So that you had to go up like a ton of steps. That was probably the interesting part of like climbing up there to the top. And
that was the most interesting part of the whole part. Other than that, I mean, it's just fake dinosaurs, and I don't know. I wasn't really interested in it, but it was cool.
Yeah, they were cool to look at, and they had like fun facts like about the dinosaurs. And then the kids, I know this doesn't really matter to us, but they have like a spot where you can dig. It's basically just a big sandbox.
Yeah.
And Olivia did find one of the things that had something written on it that she got to take into the gift shop.
And got a cheap crappy prize.
that is already in the trash, but it was like a glider or something. So they had something free, but I feel like it took up time, like, and it got them outside. So that was pretty fun. And then the last thing that by that point, it was close to dinner time that we did was we went to downtown Palm Springs, and on Thursdays, I think it's year round. I mean, it's warm enough down there that it should be. They have this thing called Village Fest. And I don't even remember the last time we did something like this where it's a bunch of like local artists, and they have like food stuff too there. There were people selling like dates and different food products.
Oh, yeah. It was almost like a farmer's market in a sense.
Yeah.
Like a big giant, they cut. I don't know if that's like the main drag that was.
Yeah, we were in the downtown area.
Yeah, they blocked the whole few blocks.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, they blocked a whole lot off. And it was just like the whole street where you get to walk in the street, and the vendors are in the streets, on the sidewalks. Well, not the sidewalks, but on the streets, yeah.
And they had food trucks. I feel like the hardest part was like, because we've never been before, we didn't know where stuff was located. Yeah. So like by the time we got there, it was like almost dinner time, and you were kind of ready to eat. But I feel like we wandered around the wrong direction.
Oh, we went the opposite direction of the food trucks.
And so like by the time we got to the end, like, well, Olivia did get lucky. She found some like Hello Kitty stickers or something like right off the bat. But after that, like, I feel like you were starting to get a little bit hangry. So we were just like on a mission for food and not really looking and like perusing the vendors as much.
I don't think I was. I was a little I guess I was a little hangry, but it was that time to where it was past the time for me to take medication. So it was like, I really need to take these pills now. I need something. That's what it was. Like, I just need something to eat. Yeah. And we almost just stopped at a random spot. Well, but then we kept walking and saw the what?
You wanted to stop somewhere, but you didn't want to wait at any of the sit down places because there were so many people.
Oh, the restaurants were ridiculously busy. Yeah.
But we did end up finding it, and that was actually probably some of the better food we ate while we were there too. Yeah. The Olivia, she like goes through these phases where she randomly wants a hot dog. So that was like one of those days. And there was a barbecue place that we found that at, but you and I had the teppanyaki, which is like the Japanese stir fry type stuff.
That was good.
And I feel like we haven't had the little Japanese white sauce since we lived in North Carolina. Yeah. So it was 760 teppanyaki is the place that was there. Yeah. So I think the thing that I was most excited, or that I was excited about, but that the family wasn't that excited about, was the Palm Springs Art Museum. Oh yeah. And but with the days that they have the Village Fest, it's free to get into the art museum. So I was like, oh, maybe I can incorporate a little bit of culture and learning into our vacation. No. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just because we aren't that family that like get super excited about that, and our kids are still young, but
I don't see Olivia ever wanting to go to an art museum ever, unless the art is Hello Kitty, or something she's interested in, like abstract art and all that stuff that was going on in that thing. No, no. Even I was like, please get me out of here.
But it was cool because like they had some ancient stuff, which when I explained to her how old it was, that kind of got her. She was like, I mean, not for long. She was like, oh, that's nice. That's really old. Yeah. But especially once we got to the abstract stuff, I feel like we were having to explain to her like the art part of it.
Yeah, man, that's just not my thing. Yeah. I enjoy music and food. You know, a good hike here and there, but not as much as you like to do. Yeah. History. Hey, that's what I like. Yeah. And next vacation needs to be about like learning some history. But you know me, like I like scary stuff. I like haunted stuff. We can't do that anymore, I know, but that's what really interests me.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, there was a little bit of history there when you look at the art, but I get it. Like, I think it's just sometimes I want to try those things and expose her to them.
Yeah.
In the hopes that she might like them, but I get it. It's just not her thing. So
No.
but we ended up staying there, like in downtown, pretty late, like till almost 9 o'clock. I feel like. So I feel like we did really enjoy that day. And then we just had one more day. On the last day, we got up. We checked out Moorteen Cactus Garden. And this, again, it was a small place, but it had, I forget how many different types of cactuses.
No. I don't know, but go ahead. Yeah.
It wasn't super expensive. It was like maybe $12 for the four of us to get in there. And I feel like, again, like I liked learning about the different kinds, and they had like stuff up there, but then you and Olivia are just like running off ahead, like, how quickly can we get through this? And I'm like, wait, read this sign over here.
Yeah, we're not interested. I'm sorry.
But it was really pretty, and they have like this greenhouse with the cactuses. That was pretty cool to walk through, and they had like cactuses growing on lava rocks. And I also wanted to go there because Olivia's teacher is into cactuses. So that was also part of our motivation, was Olivia wanted to bring her teacher back a cactus. So we shopped for cactus plants while we were there too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, it was all right.
Yeah. I mean, it took us maybe an hour.
An hour too damn long.
Whatever. You still didn't let me start till like almost lunchtime. And then because there were so many people at Village Fest the night before, I ended up, I wanted to go to Brandini Toffee, which is like famous toffee from Palm Springs. So we went kind of like back to the downtown area just so I could get some of that. And then we ended the day at the Living Desert Zoo. And I feel like this again was like just something that was okay. I don't know. I just want everyone to really enjoy the zoo. And I feel like it started out okay, but then everyone was just kind of tired at the end, maybe.
Because you had us doing too much.
Whatever.
You didn't give us a day to recharge. See, you had us on the go so much. And this is for all you people out there next time. Know your family. Know when your family needs a recharge day. We needed a recharge day, but we just didn't want to fuss about it, so we just let you do what you want to do.
Whatever.
I mean, the zoo was cool. The zoo was fantastic, actually, and it looked like they were continuing to build,
like expand. Yeah.
And I just think you caught everybody at the wrong time.
Yeah, because like Noah was asleep, like 3/4 of the time. And Olivia, like, she got excited about it at the beginning, but then kind of towards the end, we got to like the Australia part where they had like little wallabies out where you could like interact with them and stuff kind of close. And I was like,
oh yeah. And then,
everybody was ready to go by that point.
But Noah was starting to act up a little bit at that point.
Yeah, because he had woken up by then.
Yeah, he had woken up and he was fussy. Ugh.
So,
he's a hot mess.
We're on his schedule, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was nice because it focused just on the desert animals. So, because it was focused on that, I feel like the other part that was kind of made it like where Olivia wasn't as excited was we have a place up here called Safari West, and they literally like probably within the last month had gone on a field trip for school there. So it was like she had a recent zoo experience, I feel like, that made it where it wasn't as exciting because she had just seen some of the stuff on her school field trip.
But Safari West is a little bit more interactive, right? Yeah,
because you get to go like on the bus Jeep type thing and go like out. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like it was fun, but I get it. By that point, we'd done everything that we were supposed to do, and everybody was kind of tired and ready to go home. So that's kind of how
Yes.
we ended
You
it.
needed the recharge day. If you gave us one day, just one day, to where we could eat what we want and relax and not have to get up and do anything and just sit in the backyard, you would have had more success. But you had us on the go so much, people were just like,
Whatever. Then I feel like I'm missing out because we're wasting a whole day.
Well, then you plan another trip to go the next year.
Yeah.
Or whenever we
Next
decide
time.
to go. Yeah. So, like, I think the problem is trying to do too much in one day. That was the downfall of this trip. As much as Joshua Tree is beautiful, as much as Palm Springs was beautiful, we probably did miss out on a lot because we were just trying to do too much.
But I did not plan more than 3 activities in the entire day. And you don't start before 11 a.m. So that's part of it. If it were up to me, I would be up and out of the house at 8 o'clock.
Well, that's fine for 1 or 2 days. But like I said, we need a full day of recharge to where we can actually feel like we're on vacation.
Yeah.
For the future, by the way.
Yes. Well, our next big trip is going to be to the beach, so that'll be fine.
What beach?
You'll see.
Oh. What beach?
You'll see when we start talking about our next big trip.
No, I'm about to end this thing now. We're about to talk about this beach now.
Well, we did have a great time in Joshua Tree in Palm Springs, and I would highly recommend it.
Okay, let me ask you this.
What?
What did you like better, Palm Springs or Joshua Tree?
I liked Joshua Tree.
I like Civilization. I like Palm Springs.
But see, I think I would have felt differently about Palm Springs if we would have stayed in a hotel with like a pool and like done the full Palm Springs experience. Yeah. But when it came to booking, you didn't want to do that. So
I didn't. Why?
Because you didn't like the spot I was looking at.
Oh.
Anyways, I would highly recommend it for a family trip.
No, I liked where we stayed though.
Yeah.
It's a little isolated a little bit, but you know.
Well, I felt like it worked because either way we went, we were never more than 30 to 40 minutes from where we needed to be. So that's why I felt like it ended up working out.
Yeah. But I don't know. I guess going on that day that we went, it was super crowded in Palm Springs.
At the Village Fest
Yeah,
thing.
that was super crowded. So if you go on that day, it is super crowded. I'm just not a crowd person, but I think the food made up for it towards the end.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, yeah, my favorite was Palm Springs.
That's fine. I like Joshua Tree, so we got best of both worlds in one trip, and we had a good time on Olivia's spring break. And for our next episode, we'll be back in Sonoma County. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yep, bye.